it work, and it
Yeah,
happened.
exactly.
Hmm.
That's even the same case like with personal situations.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, you keep thinking, how am I going to work this out? And it just works. You
it
figure it
works when you open yourself up to possibilities.
That's
exactly.
true.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So true. That pillow you just put behind your head looks like my bedroom. That's my dominant color in my bedroom.
Well, I'm in the bed. I'm on the
Oh, yeah.
bed. I had a little procedure this morning,
Okay.
and it means that I have to be as immobile as possible. So
Okay.
uh, I don't like sitting up in the bed. Anyway, trying to get this straight is trying to get it straight.
That's fine. I'm at night trying to get my pillow straight. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just immobile here. I can't be up walking around. I had some knee shots, and
Okay.
it's my last series. Oh, I'm so happy I was able to get them done because when I got diagnosed with COVID, it meant I had to be in quarantine, and I had to give up at least 1 week of the shot,
Okay.
and you could only miss a week. So I recovered just this week so I could continue the treatment. So I had my last one this morning.
Oh, okay. Good.
So I'm
Everything's
so
working
happy.
together.
Yeah, I'm so happy because that means I know that I'll be able to walk real well next year. Well, to continue the months to come.
She's got COVID.
Did somebody else come on?
I hear, I hope that I'll take Jack is. I don't know who Jacqueline.
Turn it off.
Explain that again. What's the 5 minutes for? I didn't get it.
Hi.
Hi, this is Annette. Somebody's
Good,
dog is barking.
good afternoon, Councilmember Scipio. This is Larry from Marketing.
Oh, hi, Larry.
Hi,
How are
Larry.
you?
Hi, how are you? What Joey was saying is he's at the control room. I'm at home, and he's at the control room, and so we have to live stream this meeting.
Mm,
So
Okay.
this will be live on YouTube, and there's about 3 or 4 minutes before we get started.
Oh,
mm.
okay. That's what
So
you said.
right. I'm assuming Wanda's is gonna come on, and maybe she'll start the meeting, or whenever you have a quorum, we'll get started.
Yeah, we have at least four other people who are coming on. Members.
Okay. Okay.
Hi, this is Annette Wilson. I'm on the call.
Hey, Annette.
Hey, Annette. Hi.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm fine. How's everybody?
Good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Well, Annette, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Well, that's good. I
Thank
didn't
you,
hear back from you, but I figured you were resting.
girl. The worst part of the whole thing was uh, the anxiety that other people cause because they love you so much. They want to make sure you're okay. And
Right.
yet, it's
Okay.
nothing that was changing on a daily basis. And there was so much anxiety for me. Um,
I'm sure.
and I didn't get to respond. It got to a point where I literally had to shut down psychologically because
Mm-hmm.
that was stressing me out more than the thought that I had.
Sure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's true.
Well, every time something feels weird in my body now and that, I think I may have the coronavirus. It's like every little thing. I think a lot of us feel like that right now.
Yeah.
The thing about the virus for me was I was asymptomatic, and I have been. The only reason
Oh,
I got
okay.
tested was my brother tested positive, and
Oh,
because
okay.
I was his caregiver, I had taken him to the doctor, and otherwise I wouldn't have gone and gotten tested until
Right.
his test came back. I said, "Let me check," and so I never had any real uh, symptoms. And I'm of course God's good. I knew I wasn't gonna be sick.
Good for you.
There you go.
How's your
Uh
brother
huh.
doing?
Huh?
How's your brother doing?
when he got it, we were very,
Hey.
very
Hello?
but he's well. He's doing marvelous. His numbers are even better than they were before he got sick.
Oh, my wonder. Good for him. Super.
Absolutely wonderful.
Lots of success stories are coming out of this.
Oh yeah, it's a positive. You got to live in the positive, not in the negative.
That's right.
How many more we got? Oh, we've got some folks who are not on the committee have joined us because it's a public meeting.
Right. There you go. Well, are we going to start before the others get on? Because we've only got 3 members right on here right now.
Got to have a quorum.
Yeah. They said they were going to join, so I'm sure they will.
I'm going to just mute me until you call on me, okay?
Okay. Oh, Linda's on. I see Linda. Hi, Linda. Maybe she's on mute too. I need one more.
Yeah, well, I have the paper there. I don't get it yet. While I'm eating right now.
Cheryl and Linda, you there?
Hi, yes.
I'm here.
All right, welcome. We're just waiting. Well, I think we have a quorum now. I think marketing was going to get back to us, and they said that they were giving us 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
we ready to start? Wanda, you're on the call? Wanda, Carlin? They must have us muted. I see their names.
Hi, Ms. Dosola.
Hi.
Hi there.
Thank you. Is Carlin on?
Yes, she is. I saw her name, but can we give her a minute?
Can we give her what?
A minute.
Sure. If she needs a minute, we give her a minute.
Okay.
I see you now.
Hush.
Somebody's got a dog. Hey, Linda.
I was eating. I was finishing my lunch.
I heard you say that. You must have been talking to your husband. I heard you say that earlier. Yeah.
Did anybody else have trouble getting in? I'm not familiar with this device.
No,
What is it?
WebEx.
Yeah, I had a little trouble getting in.
Really? Well, I didn't really have trouble, but I tried to get on early so I could make sure I knew what I was doing, and nobody else was on, so I had to wait. That was my only deal.
Right. Is everybody doing okay? You're staying in, being safe?
Yes.
Yes, doing fine.
Good.
And that's on. I think that she muted herself for a minute.
I saw in that picture, but I don't see her now.
Sam, I'm here.
I don't understand the screen, the way the pictures
Oh,
come.
there she is. Hey, Annette.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Are you feeling okay?
I am wonderful, dear. I'm just
Great.
great.
Okay.
Madam Chair, whoever is on the line that has that dog barking, they need to mute themselves so
Yeah.
that we
Y'all
don't
hear
hear them.
that?
Yeah. Whoever
Whomever
has
has
the
the
dog
dog.
barking, please mute yourself. And so, Dathula, once you start, I'd like to just make a statement to everybody.
Is Mr. Fulton on? I see a William on here. Is that Mr. Fulton? Hello, Mr. Fulton? Are you on? I don't know. He didn't. Nobody answered. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, and Colin will join us. We need.
Yeah, hold on 1 minute, Ms. Dothula. Do you have the a statement for marketing to read?
Yes, I got it. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Got that. And we need Carlin for the roll call in a minute.
Here I am.
There you are. Thank you.
Sorry.
The important person is here, so we can get started. Well, welcome. The meeting is called to order, the meeting of the African American Heritage Initiative. And welcome, everybody. It's been a long time, at least 4 or 5 months since we saw each other. I hear some noise in the background. Can you all mute that?
Can we have everybody to put their microphones on mute unless you are speaking, unless you are either answering roll call or you have a comment when asked?
Right.
I'm not familiar. Where's the mute button? Oh, I see it. I see it. Gotcha.
Okay, we'll now have the roll call. Carly, would you go ahead and do that for us, please?
Sure.
Did she mute herself? No, she didn't.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, well.
Okay. All right. Chairperson Barron,
Here.
Vice Chair Ms. Penn,
Did she mute herself? Because she is on.
Here.
Ms. Dark,
Here.
Mr. Fulton has requested an excuse absence. Ms. Harry,
Here. Here.
Ms. Johnson, okay. Mr. Scales, Ms. Williams, okay. And Ms. Wilson.
Here.
Wonderful. Thank you. And now, Colin, would you please give us the minutes from the month of March when we last met, or was it February? Whenever we were together last
It was March.
time. Okay.
Madam Chair, what I would recommend is that we could move on down the agenda and save the minutes for towards the end of the meeting, since it's only going to be a review and vote for approval.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Okay.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay, moving on to the rest of our agenda, the chairperson's updates. There were a few things that, I mean, it's been so long, and I think we've all been thinking, okay, what can I do? Is we've been isolating and we haven't been meeting. Some things we had planned we weren't able to do yet. So the first thing that I wanted to bring up is I know that Linda Dark met with her committee. She pulled together, she was creative, she wanted to do something, and she pulled together her committee for a meeting. Linda, do you mind sharing what happened? Because it sounded like it was rather productive.
And I'm sorry, Ms. Dark, let me interrupt again. Chair Barron, we needed you to read that statement actually before we went any
Oh,
further.
you want that first? Okay, I
Yes.
have it last. That's okay. Let me see what I did with it.
Yeah, we're supposed to read it at the beginning before we do anything, really.
Okay, let me give you a little background on the statement. As some of you know, we didn't get our 30-second spot in for the Juneteenth, unfortunately. And it really should have happened, but there were some things that were sort of lost in the mix because of our isolation, and that just affects communication. So I'm going to read. Marketing agreed to attach this because the Juneteenth is still being shown for those of us who haven't seen it. And I know that someone said it was on channel 13 and some other channels, but I can't recall what they were. Wanda, you'll have to share that with us.
Chair Barron, that was not the statement. The statement was the one from marketing about the meeting format. Did you receive that?
I didn't get that.
Okay, it's okay. No problem.
I thought you were talking about this statement.
No. It wasn't about Juneteenth. It was before we start the meetings, there is a statement that has to be read. And I thought that maybe you had received that already, but I'll read it for you, okay?
Please. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Due to the Safer at Home order issued by Governor Cooper, members of the African American Heritage Initiative are participating virtually. All members will vote by roll call. A member will be recognized, at which time the member will state his or her vote. So in other words, every time you all vote, we have to do a roll call. You can't all just say aye or nay like you normally would. You're going to have to, Chair Barron will call you by name and you will vote yay or nay.
Okay.
So that was the statement that we are compelled to read at the beginning of each public meeting. That's virtual.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what I was referring to. You were perfectly fine with the order of the agenda.
So that's okay.
Okay.
And since I don't have the list in front of me, although I can probably remember all the names, but in case I get stuck, then Carlin, would you help me with that and if we do have a vote?
You can just go by who's on the call. If you look at
Okay.
you can just call everyone who's on the board one by one.
Thank you. Gotcha.
You're welcome.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Okay, so now can we move forward?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, going back to Ms. Dark, putting her on the spot again. Linda, would you go ahead and share with us what you did? Because I think that's a great example of what we could be doing.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So my committee wanted to get together by Zoom. Well, not by Zoom. We wanted to get together by a conference call before COVID hit. And so I had talked with some of the members, well, the members of my committee, which is oral history. And we had decided to start making a list of people that we were going to call and to come up with a script. And of course, then COVID hit. So I really have not talked with them since, except to say we're still kind of on a holding pattern. I did explain to him what the April 4th public meeting was supposed to be about. The question that we did come up, and Councilwoman Scipio, if you're still on the call, maybe you can help us with this. We don't have, I guess, professional quality audio recorders. And so we were trying to find out how we might record when we talk to people. I guess we could always go and buy one from Walmart, but that's not going to be very professional, and the quality will probably not be that good. But other than that, we were ready to come up with a list. We've started it, but we haven't completed it. And then after this meeting, I'm going to have a Zoom call with them just to update them.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for her? Since she took the initiative to start this, maybe the rest of us can learn from her. Got a question for Councilwoman Scipio? She got us on mute.
And okay.
She said she had to leave after about 20 minutes. Is she still there?
Yes,
here.
I'm here.
I'm here. May I just state this first of all, ladies? Thank you guys so much for staying on task, even though we've had these little delays from COVID. Our mission is still ongoing, and it is a mission that will not be completed in 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months. It's an ongoing process. What I like to encourage us to do, your committee to do, is think that the new paradigm now is not person to person connection. So we must think out of the box. How do we get people's stories? Whether they tell their own story on their smartphones or have family members collect their histories and their photos. There's many opportunities we still can do. I do know that we, from the city's viewpoint, we're not ready to receive any documents at this point, and I believe the timetable is September or so. So even though we couldn't do what we wanted to do initially, we can still do some things. I would love to do an orientation that we could put on our website so that people can go and hear about the project, see the things that they can do at home and with friends. Time is of the essence. It doesn't mean that we have stopped. And I know today, our first meeting, you'll be thinking more about what we may need to do to further along the cause. I do apologize that I do have another meeting I've got to sign into in a few minutes. But I did want to say thank you all for hanging in there and letting you know that I'm doing well. I did not get any symptoms, although I tested positive for COVID, and I'm doing 100% better and wonderful. So I'm energized all over again, excited. But you know, the new paradigm is we have to do things differently than we did. And I also want to say to Cheryl Harry, I didn't get to the office to write you an official statement, Cheryl, but one thing this year has shown us about Juneteenth, you have been the community person who always allowed Juneteenth to exist in our community. When nobody else did, you did. And you have carried that mantle for so many years. And as I saw the discussion about Juneteenth perhaps becoming a national holiday, I thought of you and your devotion and dedication to keeping that history alive for our community. Though we weren't touched by Juneteenth, uh, but we should have been, as all communities have. And I celebrate you, Cheryl, and I thank you for your devotion, because, girl, that's been a long time that you have been at it for more than 20 years. Just keeping the joy alive and our history alive. And I want to say that to you today. Um, and I do celebrate you for that. So everybody on the committee, thank you all for your continued work. And I will be leaving you now. And Chairman Barron, allow the beautiful visions to come forth.
All
And
right.
oh, by the way, we have no money. So 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 we got to do old school, you know.
Mhm.
Everything you want to do, we have to find a way to get it done when we don't have any money. But we're gonna get this going, and it'll be wonderful. So thank you all, and thank you all for your prayers that carried me through. So thank you, and Wanda. I do miss you and your team.
You know, we miss you too. You know that. And please make sure to check your email. I just sent you something very important and I need your feedback. But we
Oh,
miss you too. You
okay then. Thank
better.
you so
Okay.
much.
All
Okay,
right.
have a great
Take
weekend.
care.
I join you later if I get out of my other one. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Appreciate everything. Bye bye. Okay, so she shared a lot with us. And while we're on it, before we get back to other things, Cheryl, Harry, thank you again. We really appreciate what you do, and we really need your input as much as possible with what we're trying to do here. And however we can support you, we will. And I do apologize on behalf of the city and our committee for us not following through with June.
No, don't worry about that. Things just started moving so fast. It became very crazy. So, but
Mhm.
thank you all. But thanks to the city, to Larry Bell did something outstanding for us. Thank you, Larry. I know you're on this call, and thank you all. I appreciate everything.
And
Okay.
Cheryl, thank you for allowing the Human Relations Department and Commission to work with you all these years. And we are proud to be one of your original partners from the very
Yes, absolutely. I
from day
made
one.
I got called on to made a presentation for MR and one for I think it was Venture Cafe. But when I'm talking about the history, I always mention the Human Relations Department was the first organization there in 2005 and has been here the whole time. So thank you all. And thank you, Jane.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And just I wanted to echo what Ms. Dothula said about the video. Um, I guess in the midst of all that happened, you know, we did on the
Yeah.
email where we made the request for the video, the ad
Uh-huh.
to be made. And, you know, I guess things did happen in the midst of the teleworking
Yeah.
skills that people had and marketing has. And so they have come through for us though now because they do have a draft of the video and they wanted to debut the draft with you all today. And so the exciting thing is I am tasked with trying to figure out how to show it to you through WebEx. So I'm getting around with that while you all continue to meet. But we do have a draft video to show you. so that we can, it's an ad, of course, so we can add it to the Juneteenth video that is already on the city's web and on the city's YouTube channel.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Now,
Okay.
because I think a lot of interest is still in the community. When people pull it up, they will still see the AAHI ad.
Yeah, and we should be able to add it in also.
Okay.
Thank
We
you.
can, yeah, we can do
I
that.
will be, don't think I'm ignoring y'all. I'm going to be trying to play around. And if all of a sudden this video pops up, don't think I'm crazy. It's just, I don't know what I'm doing with this, but I'm going to try to run it during the meeting so you can see it. If not, I can always email it, but I wanted you to see it during the meeting.
Hope so.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So while we're waiting to see that spot, and I'm excited about our being able to do that. Earlier when Councilwoman Scipio was on the phone, she said for us to be as creative as we could possibly be. Right now, we're all having to do that in view of this isolation and just limits on what's open and where we can and how we can meet, et cetera. So going back to Linda Dark's comments, are there any thoughts about that? Is there any way we can um, maybe simulate that in our own committees? I'll be honest, I have not even pulled together committee, I'm ashamed to say. But those of us others on the call who are on the committee, what do you think about pulling together your committees and actually having that discussion, talking about the orientation and where the city is and what we can be doing between now and September? Vice Chairman Penn, do you have anything that you want to add to that? Jane? She's still on? She's muted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yes, I think that's a great idea. I think, if we get our committees together and maybe we can talk to them by phone or, yeah, I just think that's a good idea to get started because you lose something when you wait so long and it gets cold. Let's just keep moving. Just keep it moving.
Sounds good. Anybody else have any thoughts? Annette, Ms. Wilson?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I know a lot of the groups don't meet during the summer, so I kind of
Right.
feel like that might be a disadvantage for some groups, but if maybe, I don't know that I have phone numbers for everybody, but I can start reaching out. I will start doing that to see if we can at least start getting organizations to consider giving us their history. So I guess just starting with phone calls would be the best way.
Yeah, yeah. And be thinking about who you think would be most appropriate for that topic of the subject of your committee. I started doing that 4 or 5 months ago. And like I said, I haven't contacted them. I'm thinking about other people I can add to it. So we can at least do a little jump starting. Cheryl, do you have anything to add since you have so much input or background in all of this?
I've been just sitting here thinking that I know that I'm supposed to be reaching out to the cultural groups, I think, and it's because most of us, we don't have long histories because I guess not taken into the what is the Emancipation Association? I think they're about the oldest one here. But maybe we do some kind of, I don't know. No, to answer your question, no, I don't.
Even though you say no, you don't. I'm thinking as you're talking though, once our committees meet and we need to be diligent, I think about doing that. It might be possible. This is July, so there are only a few more months, but we don't know how the future is going to look. We might be able to have a little online orientation, and people are doing family reunions and funeral services online. we might be able to have an orientation online. It won't be the same as being together, but it'll be something, and we'll be giving out information. We'll be encouraging people to submit information.
And
Yes.
Dot and Annette, you said something that made me think about it. It might be good when you talk to these organizations to first ask for a written history. Maybe they already have one, and if they don't, this would be a good time for them to do that. And we could get that emailed to us, and that could be a start, or to you, Annette, and that could be a start, and then you could go from that written history, perhaps.
Well, you know, Linda,
That's what I was thinking.
Go ahead.
Right, that we would just ask them to give us something in writing, because I think for organizations, they probably have something. And of
Right.
course, the thing for me is to identify other groups outside of the Greek letter organization. Those I have, but the Mr. Scales, I think, was going to help me with some of the other fraternal lodges and things, and I'm sure there are other groups that I myself haven't thought about. So once we do have our orientation or something, our PSA or whatever that says to the community, we want your history, I think we could encourage them to, give us a call or whatever, so that we can reach out to them to ask them for their written histories.
Right.
Good idea. Really excellent idea. Yeah, what I was going to say earlier was I just found out a few months ago that my sister-in-law's granddad had a lot of businesses and houses over in what I'm calling Columbia Heights. I guess it's Columbia, like right around Martin Luther King and 1st, 2nd, 3rd Street. And I just realized that. And so all they had was a picture of him. So I asked them if they would give me something in writing to explain what they know about what he did and how successful he was. So that's something we can do too. Even if we just have only pictures, the write-up, the written document is important.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, that's good.
Well, we'll stay connected on that. And if anybody needs phone numbers, I think most of them are in our handbook we were given. And if not, I'm sure that somebody in human relations or in Annette's office will have that. All right, moving right along. Unless there's some other questions about that.
I do have a question. Do we have like a generic official letter? This is Annette, I'm sorry. A generic official letter that we could use to say we are collecting histories of organizations that you submitted for this project, or should we each just be doing our own thing?
That's a good question. I don't know that we have a letter. Wanda may know more, but I remember we did do a letter for the orientation, but it was never used. We could take that letter and rewrite it. Wanda?
I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, Wanda probably is working on trying to show us that video. But yeah, we'll talk about that because I think that's a really great idea that we have one letter.
And Wanda, this is Linda. Can you hear me, or are you busy?
I can hear you.
I just wanted to mention, and there's another organization too that I found out about through the Winston-Salem Foundation. I think Cheryl and I were at that meeting. They're doing something similar, but it's from the perspective of redlining, the history of redlining, but they also want to get stories. So I see that there's going to be overlap, and there could be other organizations doing the same thing. But I just wanted to let Councilwoman Scipio know, and I meant to tell her before she left, but I forgot. I'll send you the details. I'll email you the details.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
How do you think that's similar, Linda? I know you sent me something, but I didn't really gather the full idea.
Well, it's apparently brand new, and from what I could understand, they're looking at the history of redlining, the legalization of redlining, and they want to undo, it's called undo the red line. And They've got an exhibit, a museum type exhibit, which would be presented. And they also want to get stories from people who perhaps experienced redlining firsthand. I don't really remember a lot of the details because obviously this is long term as well. But when they said collecting stories, I said, well, this can overlap with what we're doing too. So just in terms of knowing, I think in Winston, there's so many things going on, and sometimes we don't communicate that well. We just kind of assume people are aware. So this is just perhaps another avenue that might, we might be doing similar things in the future. And it's through the Winston-Salem Foundation.
Oh, it is? Okay, I hadn't heard anything about that other than what you shared. Well, that's a really good point, because I was thinking too that, we've got to really promote this because a lot of people haven't heard of it. And by this time, we really should be getting the word out. If nothing else, we could be doing that. What are some other ways we could do that?
Well, once the
Annette, I think just like we were going to invite them to invite them to the orientation, we just need to follow through with some type of letter introduction that while we cannot have a formal orientation, we are about collecting the history and preserving the history, and we need your help. And we probably could do that also through PSAs, or maybe if once what we're going to see today is added on to what is being shown with Juneteenth, that may create a buzz about us, and we can follow up on that.
Glad I know you had said something about a Facebook orientation. Do a Facebook Live panel, and then you have 3, maybe 4 people, just 3, answering questions about what AAHI is about.
Well, I was actually thinking of a call like this, where we invite people who are part of our committees to join in a conversation about how we're moving forward, what they can add to the whole conversation. And I'm not that familiar with the Facebook Live thing, so that would be another option, yeah. And that could y'all, I'm sorry, Wanda, could y'all help us with those things?
I think that, like I'm going back and forth between you all and this email and marketing, but I think that that's definitely doable. I think also that once you see this video, you will probably think that it's covering a lot of the issues that you've raised about trying to reach out and explain. And so, Joey, if you're ready to play it, we're ready to see it.
Winston-Salem's African American Heritage Initiative is on hiatus due to COVID-19. In the meantime, you can get ready to participate. Start collecting photos, stories, documents, and oral histories that speak to the African American experience of daily life in Winston-Salem. Through the years of segregation and during the fight for desegregation, history was made in churches, neighborhoods, and schools, and by civic groups, businesses, and families. The African American Heritage Initiative wants to capture this history before it's lost forever. Learn more at ws.org/AAHI.
And everybody get to see that, because we could play it again if you didn't.
Would you? I'd love it.
Okay, play it again? Okay.
Winston-Salem's African American Heritage Initiative is on hiatus due to COVID-19. In the meantime, you can get ready to participate. Start collecting photos, stories, documents, and oral histories that speak to the African American experience of daily life in Winston-Salem. Through the years of segregation and during the fight for desegregation, history was made in churches, neighborhoods, and schools, and by civic groups, businesses, and families. The African American Heritage Initiative wants to capture this history before it's lost forever. Learn more at cityofws.org/AAHI.
Hey.
And what I wanted to mention is when working with marketing on this video, they really did a quick turnaround. I mean, it really was not, as you all know, intentional in any way that the video was not when Juneteenth was going on. But again, it can be added to that now. Secondly, I wanted to mention some feedback that I provided to them on just what I thought about the beginning of the video, mentioning that you all are on hiatus. I did not think that that may necessarily be a good thing to say in the video because you have been actively doing things as you've discussed with meeting and recruiting for your committees and also internally IS on the phone, on the call. Our IT professionals, they're on the call and they can speak to things that still have been going on, but they just haven't been directly to the public. It's not the direct public engagement because of the restrictions. So I didn't know how you'd feel about doing this ad and introducing it in this way to the community by starting off saying that you've been on hiatus when in fact you really have been still working.
Good point. Anybody have thoughts about that?
Could we just say that our official orientation was postponed and now we need your help? Something to that nature?
Sounds good to me. Anybody else have a thought?
You can, so that, I guess, so that it could live longer, you could just say that the African American Heritage Initiative has been formed or wants your stories. Don't mention
Good point.
that something was postponed, or don't mention that it was due to
Yeah,
COVID, which is a good
it
point.
adds
You
the
could just
time. Yeah,
roll into it.
right. I didn't think
Good
about
point.
that.
Mhm.
That's a
And
good
Wanda,
point, Cheryl. Just
I was gonna say, and I just sent an email to you, something like AAHI has been working behind the scenes virtually, and we are doing blah blah.
Right. Right. Okay, that's good too. And I think it's a good point to, mention the virtual aspect that doesn't mean that the work has to stop just because you're doing it virtually. It may be different than you intended it to be, but it doesn't mean it's stopping. And like I said, Cheryl, with your point, definitely what we try to do with a lot of the ads and PSAs that we do is we try to make sure we're dating what we're doing so that we can only use it within a specific window. So I think if we don't make too much of a reference to the virus, maybe that would not be a bad thing.
That would be fine. Yeah. That'd be great.
Okay. And marketing is on the call, as you know, so they can hear your feedback and your recommendations.
Mm-hmm. And so we talked about a possible online orientation in quotes. You mentioned PSAs. Is it too early, like, to put something in the Chronicle, just stating the whole idea about what was just said in the press, in the actual Juneteenth spot? I mean, just something about the fact that we exist.
It's not too early to put an ad in the Chronicle at all. I mean, it could just be an ad, like a typical ad about you all. I mean, remember when you did the news conference?
Yeah, it's been a while, it seems, but yeah, we did do that, didn't we?
Yeah, I know. It seems like it was forever ago.
Yeah, it
But
was.
it could just be something like that, where you're just, like you said, introducing the community to it and making
Yeah,
sure maybe there's some bullet points on the ad itself and
yeah,
that in the Chronicle. But the thing is, we do have to make sure that the money is there for placing the ad in the Chronicle because it's not cheap.
right. And I thought about that too. I mean, we don't even have to have an ad. If it costs too much, could we just give them a statement? They can run it as a regular article?
If they would do it,
They probably would. Yeah,
if they would do it, that would be a very good idea. And let us not forget social media. Digital media is really big right now in all age groups, all demographics. And so that's something that's very cost effective and oftentimes it's free.
that's right. It is free generally. And we talked about that at one of our meetings, may have been our last meeting. some of us, I think I was one of them, who said it wouldn't hurt for us to just on our own personal pages to
Right.
put something up there.
Exactly.
Yeah, the more we do it, the more people will begin to get in their heads because everybody I talk to has something.
I think that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Also, would it maybe not be a good time to just, because of the impact of the Juneteenth celebration in our community and the timeliness of it, so we just maybe try to get some type of article saying that we are very interested in preserving our history, and even more so it's more evident now than ever before that we need to be heard and our stories need to be told. So maybe we could get somebody to interview us on the radio or something in addition to, or doing our own interview thing on social media. I'm not a big social media user, so I don't know a lot about it, but I'm sure there are opportunities and we can learn from each other.
Yeah, maybe we could do something on the WSSU station.
I was just gonna say, is that evening radio station, the one just for information, not the jazz, is that still on the air? And usually they interview community people.
Mm-hmm. As far as I know, it is. Does anybody know more than I do about that? We can
Calvin Patterson is no longer on, but I think they replaced it with another show, I think.
Oh, okay. If marketing can check out some of these ideas for us, that would be great.
Yeah.
I think we do want to get the message out there full swing. It's not just about our doing what we need to do, but about the whole community being involved. I think we said that at the very beginning.
Mhm.
This is a history of Winston-Salem, African American history in Winston-Salem.
Right.
Okay, those are great ideas. Is anything else? Anybody have anything to share? Anything else to share before we move forward? We go to the next.
Yes, Karen, everyone should have a copy of the minutes. If you can check your email, Carlton has emailed the copy of the minutes to everyone for review.
Okay, let me check.
I think I sent the same thing with you. You may see it twice.
So what have Jessica? Yeah, I see it. Does everybody else see?
Yes, I have it.
So shall we take a minute to read it? Is that what we need to be doing, Wanda, before we vote on it?
Yes, you want to take a minute to review the minutes. Yes, make sure everything is correct. Make sure your names are spelled correctly and all of that. And then if everyone's okay, then someone can make a motion to vote, and there'll be a second, and you all can approve.
Now, when I opened it, I didn't see the full minutes. It just had a statement. And maybe I didn't open the right thing. Oh, yeah, now I see it. Does anybody need more time?
I'm good.
We did a lot of that.
Made a lot of plans, didn't we?
Yeah.
Are we ready for a vote to accept?
Yes.
Okay. So the minutes have been read. The minutes from the March meeting have been read. We're now ready for a vote. Any questions? I just have one question left. Did we do the flyer that's mentioned in the minutes? Anybody know, Wanda?
What flyer are you referencing?
So in the minutes, we mentioned that we were going to do a flyer, and I don't know if we did. This was at the beginning of the whole coronavirus thing. So
Was it in reference? I'm sorry. Was it in reference to the orientation?
Yes, I believe so.
So no, because the orientation, we didn't get that far.
Right. Is it possible we can work on one?
Yes, we can. We would have it, what, for digital purposes?
Yeah, so we can pass them around, put them on our social media pages, whatever, send them out to our volunteers.
Okay, so you're really talking about more of like a digital ad, sort of like what would be in the Chronicle if we're able to do that?
Yeah, that's the same idea.
Okay. Is it like Councilmember Scipio said, funds are super limited now with the coronavirus hitting, so I can't guarantee that we can print flyers and give them to you. So really, we're really going to need to rely heavily on digital ads or digital types of graphics. And so, yes.
At this point, that would be just as effective, I think.
I think so too. I really do.
Yeah. Anybody have any other questions? Are we ready to vote? Okay, we're to vote by roll call. So I'm going to look at the list of participants here and call out your name. Linda Dark?
Yeah. Aye.
Okay. Thought I saw, oh, Cheryl Harry? Cheryl.
So everyone reply aye if you are voting to approve.
Okay, and
Unmute.
Unmute, yes. Cheryl?
Cheryl had to leave at 4 o'clock. I think she's off.
She's still on the call. She just has to unmute.
Oh, aye.
Thank you. Jane Penn?
Aye.
Who else is on the call? I see Joycelyn's name up here on the list. Joycelyn? She doesn't seem to be muted. Joycelyn? Okay, we'll come back. And I believe the only other person is myself, and I say aye as well.
You do need Ms. Johnson to vote because that would constitute your quorum.
Okay, I thought we had a quorum without her. Oh, I didn't call on Annette. Annette
Okay.
Wilson?
Aye.
Wonderful.
Now that's
Joycelyn? Okay. So is that a quorum for us then?
yes. Now that Ms. Annette voted, you're good. You're good.
Okay, sounds good. Wonderful. So minutes from March have been approved and accepted. We can move on. At this point, I think we can move on to your updates. Wanda?
Yes, and I really don't have any updates. We're just happy to see you all. Thank you for bearing with us. We are still very much excited and pumped up about the AAHI, and I just wanted you all to know we have not forgotten about you. And so we wanted to definitely try to encourage you to meet and come together so that you could talk about things and understand where we are at this point. And sadly, as we keep emphasizing, the budget has been turned upside down due to the pandemic, but we're going to still try to work with what we have and do what we can do. And I'm going to segue into the city staff updates because, like I mentioned, we do have the IS team on the call. And I wanted to just ask one from IS would like to share any updates with you all.
Hey, Wanda.
Hi,
This is,
Tom.
can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
How y'all doing today?
Great. How are you?
Good, good. Just to
Good.
give, Chairperson Barron, members of the committee, just give you a quick update. You may recall back in March, this wasn't a March meeting, we met and Ashley and Mary demoed the form for y'all. I mean, you say showed you the intake form they're developing. That form's pretty much complete now. What was holding us up was we needed some kind of software so that when we receive documents, pictures, or whatever from the public and store them into our data center in City Hall, we had to find a way to first screen them for viruses because obviously we don't want viruses getting to our data center. And these were coming straight in. So Mary and Ashley worked with staff. They found another product and we have implemented it. Been testing it, and sometime mid-July they will be putting this product in production as well as an upgrade to our document software itself. So sometime in July we should have a form for y'all to test and try out, and hopefully we can start collecting input. But I guess we need to work through the logistics with Wanda because even though this form will look for viruses and other malware, we also got to think through how we going to vet. Someone sends you a picture of Dario's ice cream cones or something. How do you vet for appropriateness as far as for the African American Heritage Program? But we're close to having a technical solution. I will also mention that we have started working on the RFP, phase 2, we're calling it, where we're going to go out and buy a product, some kind of subscription similar to what they use at Winston-Salem State and what Digital Forsyth uses. So staff's been starting to gather requirements for writing a request for proposal to try to find that long-term platform where we will store all the documents in the cloud and the citizens can use the portal to retrieve and search based on different keywords. So we have been working, Mary and Ashley and others have been working the last few months in the background. As Wanda said, we've not forgotten you. And hopefully here in mid-July, it's almost July, isn't it? Mid-July, we will have something, we'll actually give you all a link and you can play with it and check it out and hopefully start storing documents. So it's coming soon. Be glad to answer any questions you may have. No questions?
I do have a question.
Yes.
The only concern I have, and I know you guys being with the city are very keen on security, but with so much craziness happening right now, once we do start collecting photographs or other pictures of other documents, and I don't need to know the technical method of doing it, but I'm sure there will be measures there to protect everything so that it won't get hacked or somehow the photograph be destroyed.
Yes. We will store these photographs and documents that are scanned into the form that Mary's written will be stored in our data center. All of our data is replicated to a secondary data center. So as soon as a document comes in and gets stored in a City Hall data center, we have another data center downtown. So we have duplicate copies of all documents, as well as we do nightly backups, actually hourly in some cases. And those backups are actually stored offline at a third data center. So we have pretty good standards in place for all of our information in the city. And I think cybersecurity is one of our #1 jobs, and I think it's secure as everything else we store. But we do not want to lose it.
Right.
Appreciate the
Okay.
question.
Super.
Okay,
Other
Annette?
questions?
This is Annette. I have a question. So if I start meeting or talking with individuals who may have histories to submit, at this point, I would just be asking them to submit their histories, but that it would be probably mid to late July before they could actually submit them.
Yeah,
Is that what
right
I'm
now,
hearing?
staff's looking for mid-July, literally like 13th to 15th, to put all this, the software for protecting from viruses as well as the form you all saw, put that in production in mid-July. At that point, it'd be turned loose to the public if we so choose, and they could start submitting documents. Again, we'd have to work with Wanda to figure out how we'll come along on the back end and look for any pictures that just aren't appropriate for the group or for what you're doing. But hopefully by mid-July, we will have something released to the public that they can actually start storing the data, and we will start storing it in our data center in just a couple of weeks. And staff's been testing this quite a bit the last few weeks.
Terrific.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
I'd like to thank my staff for what they've been doing in the background. They've been knocking it out, so I appreciate what they've done.
Thank you,
Tom. Tom, thank you to you and your team. And I guess now everybody can see why I was saying it really isn't accurate to say that AAHI has been on hiatus, because they have been doing a lot.
Yeah, we're almost ready to roll.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yep, you're welcome.
And thank you both, Wanda and Tom, for all that you all are doing. Well, we really have been taking a hiatus for the most part. Well, thank you.
Well, I think Wanda would agree with me. We're both pretty fortunate to have good staff. So.
Yeah, it's a blessing.
Absolutely, it's a blessing.
Any other staff updates, Wanda? Do you know of?
No, I don't think we have anyone. Frank was today, but he had to end up getting pulled onto something else that was really urgent. So I don't know if Larry or Joey have anything that they want to mention. But again, thank you to them for the ad that we shared earlier. Larry, Joey, is there anything that you know of that we should mention that's related to marketing?
Not that I can think of at this time. You guys have been talking to Frank, and Frank is our lead person to start with any kind of thing you want marketing wise.
Okay, thank you, Larry. So that concludes it then. There are no more staff updates, Chair Barron.
Okay. And Larry, thanks again. I don't know what part you played in doing that video for the Juneteenth spot. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. That was wonderful.
You're welcome.
So now we're down to the timetable. One thing I guess that we need to think about is, when do we want to have another call like this? And do we want to do it next month? We're beginning to get on a roll again. We might want to think about that. Or we could do it sooner or later. Any thoughts?
I think that once the portal or the ability to download is open, we need to meet so that we just need to know, and then we can really actively interact with our committee.
Good point. So can we? So if all of the equipment works and it's up by the middle of July, which is only a week, and then someone there in the city will let us know when that is, and we can start utilizing it.
We can let you all know via email when we get the updates from the IS team. We can certainly share those with you all.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you would like to meet in July, your regular meeting schedule is monthly. And so if you would like to have a July meeting, you can do that, and you could choose to do it. Well, now I think you all meet the first Wednesday of each month. And so that would, sorry?
We work.
Right. So that would technically be what, next week? So that may be a little too soon, right? So you could look at either resuming your regular meeting schedule and meeting the first Wednesday in August, or you could call a special meeting sometime in July, or we can keep you updated via email.
Committee, what are your
I think if we
preferences?
just wait,
Go ahead, Annette.
I was going to say, I think if we wait to our August meeting, then that would give it time for things to be in place versus trying to call a meeting in July.
I agree. Any other people have thoughts about that? I think that's a great idea.
I agree as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chairperson Barron, if I may add, this is Tom. You may remember when we were set for the orientation back in first week of April. You may recall we were actually going to get together the week before with your committee and the technical staff to kind of do a walkthrough. So maybe we could do something similar like that at your August meeting and have Mary and Ashley, and we could walk through the form and literally do some live downloads of application, or I'm sorry, video, if you so choose, and pictures.
So you say we might do something a week before our August meeting? Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, no, we could do it during that meeting.
Oh, do
I remember we had scheduled a session before we were going to do the actual orientation at the church, like the week before, and the purpose was to do a dry run for us technical staff to show you how the whole process works. So we could still do that. We could use your August meeting. It probably only take 10, 15 minutes, and we'd have everybody on the phone together, and that way you'd all feel comfortable with the solution. We may also be able to send you all a link before your August meeting later in July to test it yourself. But I think it'd be good to walk through as a group, answer any questions.
And you'll be in touch with us, or either one to be in touch.
Yeah, we'll
We'll
keep in touch with Wanda in the next few weeks and keep her abreast of what's going on.
Sounds good.
Yeah. One.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at your August meeting, the date would be August the 5th, Wednesday, August the 5th. And does 3 o'clock work for the virtual meeting format?
Say that again. What format?
Virtual meeting, August 5th. And does 3 o'clock still work?
It does for me. Everybody else, you want to pitch in?
It works for me.
Yes, that's fine.
Yes.
Awesome. And so what we'll do in July is exactly what you all requested, which is working on the digital ad for you to be able to share your contacts. We'll also work on getting that, today's June 30th, it will be July then. We'll work on getting the ad uploaded with the Juneteenth video with the changes that you recommended. Mm-hmm. And so did you all take a vote on that video in making the change about the hiatus language? I don't think you all voted on that.
We didn't vote on it, no.
Okay, you probably should vote on making that change if that's what everybody wants to do. And that way marketing can go ahead and make that change to the video and then you have it.
Okay, Jocelyn must be having some audio problems. She sent a note that she moves to make that change.
I see that.
Yeah, so what we're voting on then, Wanda, is making the change from the hiatus comment to what?
We're actively working.
There you go.
We're actively working.
Virtually.
Virtually.
Yeah. Okay. Are we ready
behind the scenes? Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then we're proposing that the marketing change the language in the video from us taking a hiatus to the wording that we are actively working. And so we're going to again vote by roll call. And I know we got Jocelyn's comment. And did we get one from you, Linda?
No, you did not get one, but yes, I approve.
Okay, Linda Doc approves. Annette?
A, I approve.
Excuse me, Chair Barron, did we have a motion and a second?
I don't think so. Thank you.
Okay, so someone needs to make the motion, and then someone.
Jocelyn made the motion. She wrote it. So I'll second the motion.
Okay, yes, that's correct. Thank
Okay.
you, Ms. Linda. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's moved and seconded that we make the changes to the wording in the video. All in favor? Okay. Jocelyn says aye. Linda, did you already say hi? Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
From Linda.
Annette, you said aye.
I from, yes, I from Annette.
Cheryl? Oh, the Cheryl had to leave, didn't she? Sorry. Do we have we should still have a forum.
Jane? Aye.
Aye. And I say aye as well. Is there anybody else I missed?
Who is William on the call? Do we know who William is?
Oh,
I
is that
asked
Mr.
earlier if
Fulton?
it was William Fulton, but nobody responded.
Okay.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded that we, and we've done the vote. So it's all in order that we, go ahead and change the language in the video.
Thank you. And I understand, thank you, Carlin, that we may not have done the same for the minutes. We need to properly approve the minutes. And Carlin does not have a note that we had a motion.
We didn't.
Second and an all in favor and all that. So
Okay, let's go back.
thank you, Carlin.
So in regards to the minutes, can we have a motion and second on the minutes?
Hi, this is Annette Wilson. I make a motion that we approve the minutes, the March minutes.
This is Linda Dodd, I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we accept the March minutes. And so do we need to go back and get each person's vote again?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So let's vote one more time on that one. Roll call. Linda Dart.
This is Linda Dodd, aye.
Okay, and Jocelyn says aye. Annette,
Aye.
Jane,
Aye.
I believe that's all of us. Lula says aye as well. So we did it properly this time. Thank you.
You got it.
Thanks for working with me. Super. So, Wanda, what else? So we have a date for our August meeting, and that will include the walkthrough on the procedures for submitting pictures and other documents. And do we want to think of a tentative date, maybe in late August to do? And do we need to vote on that to do some format like Facebook or Zoom or WebEx or whatever with our committee members or the general?
Chair Barron, can you clarify that? You're not referring to the meeting because that's August the 5th. You're referring to something else?
Right. Remember, Tom was saying that before we had said we were going to do a walkthrough meeting before the orientation. So that will be the walkthrough, just to explain it to us.
The walkthrough he's going to have as a part of your argument.
Right. But what was proposed earlier in this meeting was that we possibly do a substitute for the orientation, the live orientation we were going to do, and possibly do it on some online format.
Okay, you may need a little more time than that. That would be my recommendation from the staff. Because you all would have to plan who all would be involved, what you're going to do, who's going to say what, and all of that. So that may not be quite enough time. That would just give you a tad over 3 weeks to try to pull that together, and then you need time to get the word out to the public.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, okay, August. I was thinking late August. But do we want to just put it on hold? But if we're going to do it, we really need to plan it. So rather than put it on hold, maybe we should vote and see if we want to do it. Does that work with everybody?
Well, I think at this point we just need to see what we have at our August meeting, and then see what our next step is going to be. Because if we have everything in place and we actively pursue our committees, I know for me, I had not really reached out to any committees since the letter didn't go out or anything, and that's why I was asking if we get an official letter, we can start doing our individual outreach and then follow up.
Okay, any other thoughts? I think that since we haven't met in 4 or 5 months, we're having to take it baby steps at this point.
And we can work on that letter for the committees for outreach, but with the understanding that we highly recommend that you email that to people, because again, we don't want you to have to incur any cost for mailing it out. So
Right.
we'll get to you in a digital format and you all could just forward it in an email.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other thoughts about that or anything else?
And Wanda, I just had a question. I had asked previously about a letter to go to these people, to the people we're going to contact. So we'll do it digitally, but will it be on official letterhead?
Yes, ma'am, it will. It will.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, it will.
For those people who don't have emails, I could just personally mail 1 or 2 myself.
Okay,
You know, if I have older people who they're not on the internet, I may just have to put a letter to them in the mail.
Okay. But yes, and Miss Linda, I'm thinking about the fact that we have this discussion, and so what I'm going to do is look back to make sure that a letter wasn't already drafted, because that's entirely possible.
Okay.
It really is possible. So regardless, we're going to have a letter for you all to review in July.
Okay.
So the letter that you're referring to, Linda, that's the same as what Annette Wilson is suggesting, right? Same letter?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, Dot, I had to step away. Did we come up with a date for July for the meeting?
Oh, we're going to meet August 5th. Am I right?
Yes.
Right. No
Right.
July meeting.
No July meeting?
Right. We're going to be keeping you all updated via email about the letter and about the digital flyer to share and
Okay.
about the video ad.
Sounds good. Anything else we need to add to our timetable or our calendars? Any other reminders we need? Anything else at all before we close? Any comments, statements, questions, ideas? Wanda, do you have anything else to add before we close?
We're good as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. All right. Do we need to vote to adjourn? You know, the thumb's not the best on Robert's rules.
That's okay. Okay, we have a move to adjourn by Ms. Joycelyn. Yes, adios.
Thank you.
So you have a move, you have a motion. You have a motion.
Right. Do we have a second?
I second Annette.
Great. So we have a motion and second that the meeting be adjourned. All in favor, we'll again vote by roll call. Linda?
This is Linda. I to adjourn.
And Annette?
I to adjourn.
Okay. Jane?
Yes.
Okay. And let's see. And Jocelyn? He said we.
French this time.
I love it. And I say we as well. Okay. Well, thank you for everything. I think we got a lot accomplished considering where we are. And have a good month. We'll hear from the city soon before the month out, I'm sure. And we'll see each other again on the same format in August.
You all stay safe. Please wear your masks. Stay safe.
Thank you. And social distancing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
you, marketing. Thank you.
Thank you.